Good morning, good afternoon, how are y'all doing? My name is Jacob, welcome to the channel, TiredReads, if you are new here, and welcome to those that have been here. But in today's video, we are going to talk about my beginner sci-fi recommendations. These are expanding on a wide variety. There's some dystopians, some things set in space, some things set on Earth. Why am I out of breath? I don't know. Take some inhalers so I can stop coughing. So these are in no order. It's not a ranking thing. It's just my recommendations for those who may be interested into like dipping their toe into sci-fi and are afraid because you may think sci-fi is only big space operas like the Expanse series or Star Wars, even though it's not a book with the hard books, but bear with me. Or like what other big space operas? Honestly, like Dune or Sleeping in a Sea of Stars. Like those are really big ones, and it can be intimidating. So just calm down. Calm down.
Calm down. Calm down.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna take care of you. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm going to give you some beginner, 9 or 10 if I can find a 10th one, books to like help get you introduced, because I love the sci-fi genre. I've always loved it. I know that I haven't always been aware that that's what I've loved, but that is it. So I have 2 YA books on this list, 2 series really. They're both finished. Hold your horses. So the first one is TheIlluminae Cycle. Is that what it's called? The Illuminae Files by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is wonderful. Let's break it down. So it is set in space, and you're probably like, Jacob, you just said you're not talking about books set in space, and I never said that. I might have. Okay, I might have. I don't recall.
No, you're right.
This is total mixed media. There's web pages, chat pages, pictures, like just headshots. Like, okay, didn't know we were at a casting call. There's like video. What's the word I'm looking for? Video transcriptions. That's what they're called. Mixed in. There's fun pages where you are like this, which you can't see. You can barely see that. There's pages where you gotta like turn it all around to read what's happening. And what's the best part is not only is this a complete trilogy, these audiobooks are fantastic. So it's a complete audio experience. You have multiple voice actors, you have music thrown in, you have sound effects. It is a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this whole series thoroughly, and I've enjoyed it even more when I got the audiobook to read with it. If you want a little space adventure, that is that. Another one I recommend is, of course, you might have definitely already read it, is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins, and I don't have my copy with me, so pictures. I love dystopian. Love a dystopian. So this is set, you've probably seen the movies with Jennifer Lawrence, but the movies were great adaptations, probably one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen. But the book has more, and it just makes you fall in love so much more. And if you're dipping your toe into that dystopian world, what better way than a well-beloved series? I can't speak on the prequel. Haven't read that yet, and don't know if I will. Go ahead for it. Go for it. Go for it. Now, you don't need to hear me preach about this. You've already heard tenfold about it. So the last, what is this called? YA book is the Scythe Series by Neal Shusterman, The Arc of the Scythe. This is another dystopian, utopian kind of world set in the future of America, where everything has been eliminated and cured by this overseeing thunderhead AI kind of thing. So even death itself can be cured. So if you were in an accident, you can be revived. There's points where you can live forever and reset your age to look a certain youthfulness. They have these sites where it's basically population control, where they go around. Some of them are methodic in their way of choosing who dies. Some of them have some fun with it, even though it shouldn't be fun. But this is a great time. I highly enjoyed this. So, and it's a complete trilogy. I just finished the 3rd one. It was okay. Not my favorite, but that's okay. That's that. So, moving on to my adult books. This is another dystopian, and I think this is, this was my favorite book of 2021, and that is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. This was written in the 1990s, and set in the 2020s, mid-2020s, I think? Early 2020s, so that's today. What is also scary is that there's things that happen throughout this book that are A, either very plausible that could happen, or B, have happened in the real world. So I don't know if Octavia E. Butler was over there with her like mystic orb seeing into the future, but she did, and she succeeded. So we're following this woman, or really this girl named Lauren Olamina. There it is. This girl named Lauren Olamina, and we see her from 15 years old to like her 20s, I believe, in this book. This is a duology. It was meant to be a trilogy, but sadly, Octavia E. Butler passed away before finishing the trilogy, so it's a duology, but don't let that scare you. It is pretty wrapped up. There are, of course, like questions, but it's not like make or break, like you don't feel complete after it. So we're following her. This is told through journals. They live in these gated communities, and the West Coast has extreme drought that it's really caused the world to go into chaos. There's these drugs that make people want to set fires all over the place. People live in these gated communities, like not even gated, but like walled off communities. And if you go out into like the world, you most likely don't return just because it's that brutal out there. And so we are following her, and it goes beyond just that. Like you think that's enough? No. She took it another step further, and she throws in the whole ideology of religion and what that means and how it can be used to motivate and how people use it as a crutch sometimes. So she was raised in a religious household. I'm not sure which one, but her father is a pastor in their community, and so she has been around, grown up with religious teachings her whole life, and now at 15, she's starting to question it and really come into her own thinking of it and really seeing if she believes in what she's always been told. And minor spoiler, it's literally the plot of the book, is that she doesn't, and she goes on to create this religion called Earthseed, where it's all about change and it's all about like how not like there's not like an overseeing God. There's just like the way I like to think of it is like physics, Newton's laws. So for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. So like those kind of things is kind of how I feel about it. So in this book we follow that journey and her all the way up to creating the skeleton of the Earthseed religion. And then the second one we follow her daughter and her journals and Lauren's journals as well. And yeah, I can't recommend this enough. The audiobook was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but like it's okay if you need it. It's there. I need to reread this. And these tabs, I don't tab books, but in the beginning of each chapter, or like they're sprinkled throughout, she has readings from her scripture, I guess, is what she calls it. And they just are so like, really make you go, huh, she has a point. That is, I could sit on this for another like 5 minutes and talk about it, but I highly recommend it. Highly. Let's see, what else do we got here? So this next book is a little interesting solely because it wasn't my favorite book of all time, but I can see how it would be beneficial for someone who is new to the sci-fi world and wants to get in, but is, like I said, scared of all the hectic plots that you normally hear about with sci-fi. So this is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. Basically, this woman and her husband are scientists, and they go to create clones, but really, the wife is like the better scientist, go off. And so she creates the clone, and I can't remember exactly if she creates the clone herself or her husband does. Inevitably, the clone takes the wife's position. It's an interesting dynamic of like, do clones deserve rights? Like, how do you deal with that politically? Not even politically, but like, how do you deal with that? Like, do they get a driver's license? Do they share a social security number? Do they share a driver's license if they're the exact same person? So it's very interesting, the dynamics in here. The writing was great. So this is very light sci-fi, very, very light. The only like sci-fi part is the whole clone thing, and the science is not like you're sitting in a college high-level science class, so don't worry about that. It's very digestible and is very entertaining as well. Okay, so these last 4 books, we're moving on to space. That's a lie.
Bitch, you better be joking.
This next book is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is, I would say, beginner intermediate sci-fi. Much like the Illuminae files, it is not so much mixed media, but it has like interviews. It's pretty much all told through interviews. So there's an interviewer asking questions, and then the character provides an answer. So this girl finds this metal hand in South Dakota, and unbeknownst to everyone, this giant alien species is scattered throughout Earth, buried underneath, and this team of scientists are trying to find it and figure out what it was used for. Of course, America being America, they want to use it as a weapon of war. And other parts of the world want to join in. Other parts are saying it should be used as a defense and not as an offense. It was really great. I really enjoyed this. There were great character moments. The audiobook was great. I believe a full cast, so it has some extra cast. Oh, there goes the battery. Let me replace the battery. Okay, hopefully nothing really changed. So as I was saying, we're dealing with this and really trying to find out like if it's a very good like first contact thing in the sense of like what was it used for? Was it used to like build Earth? Was it used to defend Earth? What other? It's a good time. It's a good introductory, I think. So that's that. The next one is, I would say, another intermediate to advanced, or whoa, no. The next one is another like intermediate beginner kind of book, and this is a short story collection. I quite enjoy short story collections. I'm trying to get into more of them. So if you have any recommendations for sci-fi or your favorite, doesn't have to be sci-fi, any kind of short story collections, I would greatly appreciate it. But this is Exhalations by Ted Chiang, and this is a collection of stories. This is by the author who wrote the story that inspired Arrival, which is starring Amy Adams in it. That story isn't in this collection, but this had some of my favorite short story collections in it, also some of my least favorite, but we're not going to talk about those. What we're going to talk about is the highs, not the lows. Being a short story collection, it gives you the opportunity to explore multiple things within a genre that you might not have wanted to, or wanted to spend money on buying multiple books to figure it out. So in this book we got alchemy, we got time travel, we got AI, and if they are real or not. That one, I didn't like that story, but it has its place. We got, what else we got in here? We got something about religion. I forget that story. Oh, there's one about like, I did enjoy, this was about language and how it like ebbs and flows, and like if we go so far away from not using language to depict emotion that it will eventually come back. One about lungs and breathing and the inner workings of the mind. What is this one? Let's see what this one is. Okay, no, don't remember that one. I hated that one. Oh, about like, there's another one that I really enjoyed. It's called Stacy's Patent Automated Nanny, I believe. And it's about like this, you know, this doctor or scientist creating this robotic nanny to raise children, and how that impacts the child, and how if that were to occur, how like they would developmentally be behind and not as well off as their peers. And it was very interesting. Loved that. So highly recommend. Also highly recommend the audiobook for this one. This one was really good. It has like 2 narrators, I think, but they alternate depending on the story and the characters, and it was just very good. I highly recommend this if you want to test out different spots of sci-fi without putting all the money into it, you know? Or go to your library. Calming it back down into like beginner world. This one is set in space, but the caveat is it is a murder mystery and a whodunit. So this is Far From the Light of Heaven by Thompson. This is basically Clue in space. There's of course elements of like why they're traveling in space, why they're leaving Earth and going to another Earth, but the main point of it is that the first mate, Michelle Campion, awakes and she realizes that some of if not most of the other, actually this lie, all of the other what are they called, patrons, attendees, I don't know, will not wake from this deep sleep that they are put in to use for traveling through deep space. And why they're not going to wake up, that's a really good question. You want to know why? Because they're dead. And so she is determined to figure out why or who killed them when they're all supposed to be asleep, and why once they find that killer. I greatly enjoyed this. There's different parts of it of like mission control and like seeing the effects of what happens outside of it, because it's a sci-fi book, so there's an AI. And the AI is questionable. I'll just leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I really enjoyed this one. I'm excited to pick up more of Tate Thompson's work, but that's not what this is about. So we go into discovering all this, and we meet another character who is coming to save, you know, the ship, because Michelle is saying that, oh, we have some sick people and we want to quarantine the ship before we enter your planet because we don't want to get you sick. You know, they're wearing their masks. They're being kind. They got vaccinated. And so they are doing that, and she's like, but really, we're trying to figure out who killed all these people because there's a murderer on this ship and we don't know who. So that's that on that. I greatly enjoyed this. Highly recommend. The final book, unless I can find another one on Goodreads in a few seconds, to round this out to 10 books, which is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is definitely that intermediate beginner kind of level where, maybe that will help, I don't know. I mean, I'm this far into the video, why fix the light now? It is heavy sci-fi, but it doesn't feel that heavy because of the character. This robot is charged with going with this group to this planet, and their model of robot goes with all different types of crews to different planets to explore, and this robot has hacked into their software and has essentially freed themselves of the binds of the company that created them, and so they are named Murderbot, and they go, and it's really like an exploration of, I don't want to say humanity, but like person being a human. The character was phenomenal, and I greatly enjoyed this. It's a short book. It's only 170 pages, so it's a quick read. I highly recommend this if you read all the 8 other books and you're looking for that next level. This is that. Yeah, this is definitely that. That's that. I don't want to say too much because it is a short book, but there are numerous in them, and it's Hugo Nebula Award winner. So what more? Let me look on Goodreads to see if I got another one. Okay, well, you know, I'm sure there may be more, but 9's a fun number. Let's just stick with 9. And maybe I'll do a follow-up in the future. Who knows? But those are my 9 recommended books / series for those who want to dip their toes into the sci-fi world and who are a bit intimidated, a little bit scared to do it because of what you perceive it is. But trust me, there is a book with your favorite trope or favorite character or favorite plot device, something in there. There's a sci-fi book out there for you. So I highly recommend all those books, and if you would like a part 2 of like an intermediate kind of sci-fi, so not that epic space, epic sci-fi, but like something a little bit more, like you read these books, but you're like, I'm ready for something a little bit more challenging, something to make the mind go a little, let me know, and I will certainly make that next video. So that's that. All of these books have audiobooks, and they're all great, I'm sure. Some of them are better than others just because of their format, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, or whatever. Let's leave leave your favorite space emoji down below. Or you can let me know how you're doing, how your day was, how your week was. Let me know. And while you're down there, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button if you would like to stick around and see part 2 of this, or the numerous shenanigans that I get up to in reading vlogs or live streams, which are always fun. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, or whatever, and I hope you have fun celebrating whatever you may be celebrating. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!